Next up is Doug Harris, CEO of the Kaleidoscope Group, a Chicago area firm. Doug has over 25 years of experience in the field of diversity and inclusion consulting. We're thrilled to have his expertise in our lineup today. Please give a warm welcome to Doug Harris, here to share insights about connecting with new audiences.
Good morning, everyone. Very excited to be here. I just came in from Philadelphia, but this is my home, so it's good to see you all visiting me in my home. I got the picture, man. Hey, how you doing? Let me get this one here. All right. We're underway. So my conversation will be around connecting to new audiences. And I know a lot of what we'll be sharing this morning, there'll probably be some overlap. Overlap just means that it's just a good point. But some of the things that I'll be sharing will be a connection, but also how do we get more specific around connecting to new audiences? My organization is a full-service diversity and inclusion consulting firm that helps organizations with their entire D&I strategy. We've been at this for 30 years, and this is our point of focus dealing with this topic of diversity and inclusion. Here's my team. We're located here in Chicago. I have a few individuals here with me today. If you could please stand up. I don't know. There's one, there's two, there's three. Let's give them a round. Four. Let's give them a round of applause. Yes. You see, they are so happy based on great leadership. Yep. Okay. Here's some of the organizations that we have worked with in this arena around nonprofit and, cultural organizations dealing with the subject of diversity and inclusion. Now, when we say full service, just want to take a second here. Full service means we help organizations create a diverse workforce, an inclusive workplace, use diverse suppliers while you're doing your business, build relationships with the diverse community, and then what I'll be talking about today is how do you create and enhance a diverse marketplace. So those are the 5 areas of focus that we address as we do our work, okay? So when connecting to new audiences, I'm going to put 3 questions out there before you to just think about, okay? So the first question would be, when you are losing audiences, do you get your old audience back or do you attract new audiences? It's a question to think about. When you are attracting new audiences, do you find new people who like what you currently offer, or do you offer something different that new people like? Question to think about. Do you attract new audiences with the same message and approach, or do you change your approach to attract new audiences? Question to think about. The answer is yes. You have a tough job, okay? You have a tough job. So there's a lot of angles to doing this work and doing it well. Some of them will be doing some of the same things a little bit differently, doing some new things. So hopefully I'll share in the time that we have some of the keys to making this happen appropriately. But I wanted to ask you a question. Raise your hand if you like different people. Okay, good. Because that helps, If you want different people to come, it's good to like them. Some people, I want these different people, then they come, you're looking at them like they're crazy. So it's good to like the different people if you want them to actually attend your place, okay? So I'd love to get that out the way real early. The other thing is I am frequently asked, can you give me some new things to do so I can attract different people? Which is a good question. But not often enough am I asked, can you give me insights on a new way to be to attract new people? So it's not always just about doing, but it's also how are you showing up so that new people are attracted to your venue, okay? So when we talk about culture change, we talk about your beliefs, your behaviors, your processes, your policies, and your practices. So today we'll be talking about some processes and strategies to put in place, but we don't want to minimize the importance of beliefs, behaviors, and thoughts as you get that underway. Because people know when they are kind of welcomed and when they feel they're part of becoming a visitor or a customer to your different facilities. So here's the 7 steps to attracting a diverse audience. The 7 steps. So one is having a diverse staff, having a welcoming environment, relevant content, culturally sensitive events, market segmentation, community coalitions, not partnerships, but community coalitions, a little bit deeper level, and then aligned sponsorships. So I'm going to take a moment to kind of address these. We're on time. What is my ending time? I think we're on time. We're ahead. Oh, I could tell a few more jokes then. That's good. That's good. I could take off my job. I don't need to rush. Okay, good deal. Let me slow down. But I'll give you, I know we want to go to break. I'll give you your time. I won't be too long. So diverse staff. Here's a new quote. I like quotes. Different people are comfortable with themselves. Y'all will get that one when you get home. Okay. But so often we say, well, how can we be comfortable with different people? We've got to hire some different people because different people are what? They're comfortable with themselves. And as you see people be comfortable and find different ways, it creates comfort with the entire organization. I started my career with Procter & Gamble selling toilet paper. So I like my job a lot more now. But that was the beginning of my career. And Procter & Gamble sales in those days was male-dominated. You know, it was like we had 9 men and 1 woman on the team. Toilet paper was not the most exciting product. So I'm like a G.I. Joe kind of guy. I love basketball. I love sports. I'm like, yay, rah, rah. Then I got into diversity and inclusion, and it's a very kind of caring environment. First meeting I went to, they said, let's check in and see how people are feeling. I'm like, what kind of meeting is this, checking in? You know, toilet paper sales, we meet for 10 minutes, then we go drink. You know, that was our meetings. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. How you think I am? So the reality is that many times as you start to get diverse people, it gives you comfort with having a new audience. One of my clients was, they were selling female products as it relates to sanitary, napkins and things of that nature. So they had an all-male marketing team, okay? So I said, you know, that might be considered a problem, you know? And then for them to understand the product, they had them wear the napkins home. I'm like, oh boy. I said, this is going to be a long-term contract here, okay? So the reality, if you want to understand different people, you need to do what? Bring different people into your organization so you can attract a diverse staff. So what are the key things here? Diversify your staff, and then ask their opinion. You know, what do you think we can do? What do you think we might do differently here to attract more people? And not just ask their opinion, but you got to do what? Utilize it. We've all been in situations where people say, what do you think? Okay, anybody else, what do you think? And never utilize the opinion. You actually have to utilize it. So that's the first step. Diversify your staff, and then hopefully utilize their opinion. The second step is create a welcoming environment. Welcoming is not being nice. Welcoming is being understood. That make sense? Or do I got to wait for you to get home again? Okay, we're okay? Welcoming is not being nice, but welcoming is being understood. A couple of years ago, I met this guy. It was a new client. I go to meet him, and he says, hey, Doug, how you doing? So he gives me the 8-part black guy handshake. You know, he's like, hey, boom, boom. He give me high knees, and I'm like, what are you doing, man? Just shake my hand. I said, you're working too hard. You're working too hard. So when you want to receive people who are different, just be yourself, be genuine in that process, and try to understand and ask questions around what are their needs. I love the question that was previously asked. How was that experience? How did you like it? Don't go overboard. Don't wear sombreros on Mexican Day. No, don't go that hard, right? Just go out, be yourselves, meet people, be genuine, and create a welcoming environment so that they will do what? Return and come again. So the key things here is set cultural competence standards. What are your expectations around being culturally competent as you serve people? And then secondly, prepare your people to do culturally competent service. And then 3, hold them accountable. So things may come up where someone is not treated well, they're not feeling as though it's been a welcoming environment. Make sure that they correct what they've done, give them feedback on that, make sure that this is an important part of being open to various audiences that you might serve, okay? So a welcoming environment is number 2. 3 is relevant content. And this is interesting because the same content with different messaging feels like relevant content. Same content with different messaging feels like relevant content. So let's suppose you're having a film that's on lions and how lions operate within the jungle. And you say, you could call it King of the Jungle, or you could say, look, I want to attract some young kids from the neighborhood. Let's call it That Bad Lion. They'd be like, oh, man, I want to go see that. Why you didn't want to go see it before? Because it was just King of the Jungle. I don't know nothing about it. But That Bad Lion, that's attractive to me, right? So you could take the same movie and film and just wrap some different language around it, and now it's relevant. Now it's relevant. One of my clients, I work across many industries, they were in the insurance business, and they had a product that was like a long-term savings product. And they were positioning this product to be able to put your parents into some type of senior care if that need came about. And so they were selling this to the Latino market around, here's how you put your parents away, you get some money. So the tip said, we don't put our parents away. We keep our parents in our home until the end of their lives. Now they took the same product and said, look, here's how you send your kids to college. The Latino market became the second buying market for that product. Same product, different messaging. So if you want to be relevant to different people, you got to think about how might we, even if we don't change the film itself, how might we just shift the language so that different people are attractive to it? Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the things that's involved with that. Know your content, explore the different ways to share around your content, and then prepare people to explain it appropriately. So once you have this new messaging, you have staff give them insights around different ways to talk about the same product. I mentioned earlier I sold toilet paper, and toilet paper has 83 specs. What kind of tree it came from, how soft it is it allergenic, and what tree all kind of specs. Now you should never use more than 3 when you're selling it. So you got to pick the appropriate 3 to attract certain people. So your films may have a lot of different messages around why they might be attractive, but you have to decide with these different audiences, which part of that will be more attractive to different audiences. And train your people on how to send that different message that might be able to attract different people. Now here's the thing we want to say here as well. We don't want to go into the assumption mode, like the handshake. You know, hey, black guy, let me give you the 8-part handshake. Now, we don't want to go into the assumption mode, but we do want to go into the open-minded mode of thinking that some people may want different messaging in regards to being attractive. Does that make sense? Sometimes we get so set on, oh my God, I'd be very different, that we don't listen in to what the audience is actually needing. So again, in this place, know your content, explore different ways to share, prepare people to explain appropriately. The next one is cultural events. So here in Chicago, several of the cultural institutions have various events that they attract different people to their place through these events. The Shed Aquarium has like Jazz at the Aquarium. I think it's like every Wednesday night or something they used to do it. I used to go there before. I don't go as much now, but it was primarily for the African-American audience. Now, even though it didn't really have a lot to do with the aquarium, it got a lot of people attracted to the venue to know what that was about. and then they would just talk to them while they were there around how could we become more attractive to you overall. So let's suppose you had an event at one of your places and then had a little 10-minute movie that was a cultural movie in the cinema for just around, just the people to sit there and watch. And they're like, wow, this is a different experience. Next thing you know, next week they'll be looking at the lines, correct? So they got to get used to your place, know your place, and understand that you're interested in them. So let us know you're interested in us, and we will then become interested in you. And so many times where there's not budget, these are also revenue-producing events. Is budget a concern? I read my notes. Budget can be a concern. These are revenue-producing events as well. So not only are you attracting different people, but you're making revenue at the same time. So know your demographics, know their desires, agree on some type of desirable event that can get them attracted to your venue. Okay? The next one is called market segmentation. Totally understand the market so you can attract the right segment, while at the same time respectfully serving all segments. So I have 7 children. That's why I travel so much to get away from them. No, but I have 6 boys and 1 girl. I got a baby girl, yeah, but she's as spoiled as you can possibly see. But I love her way more than my boys. Don't tell them. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them. If you say, I talked to Doug, he loves all his kids equally. That's not true. That's not true. In the spirit of honesty, my baby is my baby. But anyway, I was home a couple of weeks ago, matter of fact, preparing for this event, and I was working on my laptop, and she said, what are you doing? I said, preparing a presentation. I'm going to be talking to Giant Cinema. She said, Giants? I said, like IMAX. So she said, I don't like IMAX. I said, what? So let me stop this and see what she has to say. So during the summer, she's a college student now. She works as a camp counselor. And she said she was invited to an IMAX theater here in Chicago. And she took her kids, who she was a counselor for. I think they were between about 8 and 15 years old. And she said, we didn't like it. So I said, well, what happened? She said, they didn't have any candy. I said, oh, boy, I thought it was going to be they were treated bad or they heard some bad. They didn't have candy at the place. She said, they had like this healthy stuff to eat. My kids were miserable. I said, so if they brought candy, they might like it? Yeah, it's a movie. We go to a movie, you eat candy. So these are little things, correct? These are little things, but her kids were just miserable at the event. She said all of a sudden they lost interest because of the fact that it was a different kind of movie experience. So in this market segmentation, this is not a plea to say, hey, go out, get a bunch of candy. But at the same time, think about, call her up, call her camp up. Say, look, we're bringing the kids in. Anything might be helpful for them to have a good experience. Why don't you come here a couple of weeks ahead of time, see the place, see what you see, how it might be different. Get their voice so that you can do little things that makes it attractive. Now, here's the good part about it. They had an outright effort to go into all the neighborhoods to bring kids there. But sometimes the experience itself was not the right one to get them excited to come back again. We had a client that was selling baby furniture, and they really wanted to attract the Hispanic Latino market, and they did a good job through advertising, things of that nature. But when they got to the store, nobody spoke Spanish. So I'm like, oh boy, here's another contract, right? So the reality is many times, even when you're doing good things, if you're not thinking about it appropriately, you're not attractive to the broader audience, okay? So here's the keys with this one here. Know the desired audience, conduct focus group, personal visits to get them to understand what the place is like, and then make adjustments when possible just to shift the experience to be more attractive to that audience, no matter what that audience may be, okay? That make sense? We're going along here. Community coalitions. I I use different words. Don't say community partnerships, but community coalitions, because I think there's a deeper level of connection that you need to have with the community versus just a partnership. Partnership is we're doing something together. Coalition is like we really understand each other's interests. We're in dialogue, giving each other real feedback around how to best serve the different markets that we are trained. So in building coalitions, the key is creating trusting relationships to get that kind of feedback. So one of my clients was REI, and they really wanted to get more ethnic diversity interested in like camping equipment and things of that nature. And so that's not the number one interest for many of the audiences that they wanted to attract. So they built this strong coalition with a couple of organizations that ended up doing a camping trip for kids who were inner city kids and sent them out for like 3 days. And they did about 8 of these during the summer. And these kids just had a fabulous time. But what the coalition did was not only send the kids out, but they asked a lot of questions around what might these kids expect, what might make them nervous, what might they be a little fearful of. So it wasn't just making the event take place, it was that strong relationship that got into the details of making that experience powerful. And it ended up being able to help kids be more interested in camping equipment, the camping as itself, more products in the stores, things of that nature, but it was built on the sincere interest of exposing kids to different lives. And it was under the community's objective of exposure. Picture man, all right, here we go. You get that one? All right, let me keep going, I'm sorry. I just get excited. Oh, here we go, all right. Put all these in the magazine, put all of these in the magazine. Now, what was I talking about? That was a pretty good story. I forgot all about it now. But the key here is when you're doing these things, it's just making those adjustments. REI sells what it sells. Your films are what they are, but you can attract people just by way of making these various adjustments. So build relationships, explore intimately, and connect on different interests, intimately. Really know what people are interested in. And they found out that exposure for young people is one of the key components to get them beyond their environment. We have as an organization, Kaleidoserve, which Marissa is one of the leaders of that. And it's a leadership camp for young kids in underprivileged areas. And we believe that we try to teach kids how to dream. We can't take them out of their neighborhood, but if we teach them how to dream, they can think about things bigger than their neighborhood. So we expose them. And these kids live like 5 miles from O'Hare Airport. And we went to see the Chicago Sky basketball game, which is the women's female pro team here. And the kids was like, wow, they go a plane. Never seen a plane. 5 miles away, you know? And then we start talking, well, what does that feel like? And they just start thinking, I mean, you not only got to see a plane, you can be a pilot. Really? Oh, yeah. You can do whatever you want to do. But it starts with exposure, and your event and your venue can help kids and people get exposed as a way of being attracted to a bigger life. And so many of the organizations are trying to find ways to do that. You can partner and create that type of environment. So build relationships, explore intimately, and build programs in accordance. And then sponsorship alignment. This is a place where you get revenue. 1, 2, 3, revenue. 1, 2, 3. Do we like revenue? Yes. Is budget an issue? Yes. How can I do all this stuff with no money? Well, 1, 2, 3, revenue. Find people who have money. If you don't have any, find people who have money. So there's a community who have an interest for the kids, and organizations are looking for diverse workforce, diverse markets, and they spend money. How do I know? They give some of that to me. In building a diverse organization, you can create sponsorships and say, look, Boeing Harris Bank. What can we do together through our cinemas that can help you in your efforts to attract a more diverse audience, to attract diverse customers? What might we partner on? So Chicago Tribune is very interested as an organization in people reading. So obviously as a newspaper, one of their points of focus is that they get interested is from all their community and business coalitions around people being able to learn how to read. So when they do and spend money, it's attached to that, okay? So if you have programs that are attached to that, you can say, look, we're going to do this film, and before this film, we're going to do a 5-minute little speech around people reading. Oh, really? Well, we'll give you money for that. And we'll attract some different people to that event so that we're both aligned on the same component. And then right after that, we'll do a career fair with people who are different who also might be attractive. So I don't have all the answers. I don't know all the locations where you are. I know all of you have flown in here. But these are things, when you create sponsorships, and you should go out now and study who has major diversity efforts in your locations. Which corporations have major diversity efforts? Call a diversity officer and say, I want to do something with you to attract a different audience to my institution. And I know you're looking for that. What can we do together? And then ask them, do you have any money? They'll say, yes, we have money. Now, don't ask them that. But they have money to support these events. Does this make sense? Between you and I, it works. It works. All right? So here's the things there. Know the diversity goals of these organizations, know their interests, and then design some kind of sponsorship package that allows both of these to come together. Yeah? Good deal. So what are the institutional benefits around doing this work well? Well, one is if you do this well, you also will attract the best people to your institution from a working standpoint to be a part of where you are. So even though you're looking for a new audience, when you look for a new audience, you'll also find yourself attracting new talent. You'll be able to serve all audiences well. So as you gain insights on any audience, you're better able to serve all audiences. It's the dynamic around how diversity and inclusion works. People who are different, when you are able to serve them, you learn things to serve the general audience. One of the stories we tell as we do our work is several years ago, Amoco, before it was bought out by BP, hired a young lady on the marketing team. And so this young lady happened to have 2 small children. So she came to work one day and she said, you know, I have 2 small children. Every time I go to get gas, I got to go in the trunk, get the stroller out, take my kids out the car seat, put them in the stroller, stroll up, pay for gas, come back, take the kids out the stroller, put them back in the car seat, put the stroller back in the trunk. Take about 20 minutes to get gas. Is there any way we can pay at the pump? How many of you pay at the pump now? Right. If you can't pay at the pump, you go to the next gas station, right? Now, did they say, hey, look, here's a woman, she's going to have us hiring, paying at the pump? No. Different people ask what? Different questions. Different questions lead to what? Better solutions. So you could be starting off thinking about new audiences, but you bring different people, they'll make you more effective and thorough at everything you do because you're more attractive to a diverse audience. It helps you grow your market in general, increase revenue, and then it also gives you a positive reputation in all communities. Now, the reality is that you're not going to be able to attract the entire world and have them be strong, committed customers and visitors. But you definitely can expand and connect to new audiences if you take these steps that we just began to discuss. Okay? Was this helpful? Yes, good. Thank you. Thank you. Questions are later. Okay. You have any candy? No, I'm just joking.